Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, based on the messages, I think we are going to start from Shloka 27. Can everybody confirm, please? Like, if that's where we are, Asankhyeyo Prameyatma, is that where we need to start?
Yes, Guruji. Yes, that is the one.
Awesome. We'll chant the Shloka first, and then we'll look at the breakdown, and then we'll look at the meanings. So, this Shloka, Asankhyeyo Prameyatma. One second. Make sure everybody's muted. Asankhyeyo Aprameyatma. So note that it is not Prameyatma, it is Aprameyatma. Visishtaha Sishtakrut or Sishtakrit Suchihi is the next nama. So when you combine it because of the Sandhi rules, it becomes as Sishtakrit Chuchihi. That's how it will sound. But the actual number of words, number of namas in that line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So next line is Siddharthaha, Siddhaha, Sankalpaha, Siddhida. This is where I think different gurus have given different changes, like Siddhidaha and Siddhi Sadhanaha. So again, 5 namas. So overall in this shloka, we have 10. Who would like to chant this one with me?
I can.
Awesome. Asankhyeyo Prameyat. Sorry, see, I go back to that Anushtup Chanda. Sorry, one second. Shvam Vishnurva Shatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Asankhyeyo. Can somebody get me started, please? The other Anushtup Chandas format, not the Gita one, where we shouldn't be breaking after 16 syllables or the 8 syllables.
Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Vishittashishtabhrichijuha Chuchihi Siddhartha Siddhi Sankalpa Siddhi Das Siddhi Sadhana.
Awesome. Thank you, Arvindji.
Okay. Sadhana. Yeah. Vrishahi Vrishabho Vishnu Vrishaparva Vrishodharaha Vardhano Vardhamanascha Viviktashrutisagaraha Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Visishta Sishta Krit. See, that's where I'm actually going down for some reason. I don't know why for this particular line.
Siddhi Sankalpa Siddhi Siddhi Sadhanaha.
Suprasad Prasannatma Vishwadrug Vishwabhuk Vibhu Satkarta Satkrita Sadhu Janhan Narayano Naraha Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Visishta Sishta Kritchihi. Okay, we'll do that. Asankhyeyo Prameyat. See, I don't know why. Satkarta Satkrita Sadhu Narayano Naraha Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Visishta Sishta Kritchihi. Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Visishta Sishta Kritchihi. Whoever, Anitaji, would you just want to try?
Yeah. Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Vishishta Shishta Krutchichichi.
Kritchihi.
Krutchichihi.
Siddhartha Siddha Sankalpa Siddhida Siddhi Sadhanaha. That's definitely not how it should be chanted. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. Suprasada Prasannatma Vishwadruk Vishwabhuk Vibhu Satkarta Satkrita Sadhjan Narayano Naraha.
Asankhyeyo Prameyatma Vishishta Shishta Kritchihi Siddhartha Siddhi Sankalpa Siddhi Siddhi Sadhanaha.
Okay, we'll move to the meanings and we'll come back to the shloka. Thank you, Gomati-ji. I appreciate that. So we'll look at the meanings now. Apologies. Asankhyeyaha Sankhya means like or numbers, right? So Bhagavan is Asankhyayaha, he who is the one who has no Sankhya, no count. His glories, his names, his forms, what his attributes are, have no counts. Every name, every nama rupas are all his. Therefore, he is the infinite. This is another way of saying it. As Nirguna Brahman, he has no name, form, or guna that can be pointed out and counted. Therefore, also he is the Asankhya. So there are two things, right? One is innumerable is the term, the meaning of this term, or the one that does not have any of this, because as the Nirguna Brahman, he doesn't have any qualities or gunas or forms. So it can be applied both ways. That who is Asankhyayaha has no Sankhya. Then the next nama is Aprameyatma. So the one who of immeasurable nature. Of immeasurable nature. So there are two different, like again, multiple meanings here. Prameyam means one who, there are actually multiple meanings. Prameya means something like, an instrument of knowledge being available to know something. What we are saying is Bhagavan is Aprameyaha, or the Atma, that the very nature of Atma cannot be learned by because of a pramanam or a prameyam. It has to be learned through what we say is like the neti, the negation of everything else is what else is remaining, what is the cause of everything. That is how we can know Bhagavan. Otherwise, by knowing the attributes, or there is no book that can tell us this is where you can go and find Bhagavan, the very source of the whole universal existence, that is not to be easily known. So that is one part of it. The other meaning is that he doesn't get involved. Everything happens, or his existence has no prameyam. Nothing influences his existence, nothing influences what he does and what his activities are. So that is one meaning. The other one, he doesn't involve himself into the universal activities. He created the universe and it is self-sustaining, and the matter energy, the consciousness is quietly the sakshi. He doesn't come and do any additional activities. Everything happens on its own. So there are multiple meanings to this nama, and it is very significant. And it is one of those Atma namas that we have previously seen. Just I asked everybody to note down what are all the Atma namas. This one is a very significant one among them, Aprameyatma. So if you want to do japam on this one, it would be Om Aprameyatmaya Namaha. So it's an important one. The very nature. So here it says, taste is also manifold as sweet, sour, bitter, etc. So to flowers, the flavors, textures, and sounds are innumerable. Name and form are the manifestations of the Lord, and they are countless, but his Atma or Swarupa, the very nature, is only one, and it is Aprameya. What can be objectified is Prameyam, but he cannot be objectified. And we've been seeing this in the Gita classes as well, that he is the seer himself. He is the subject of this knowledge, this consciousness. Therefore, he cannot be objectified. I cannot point to something and say this is Bhagavan, because he is everything and anything. And the other one, the Atma of Bhagavan need not be objectified, being self-evident as the Atma of oneself. This is where we were talking about the Jivatman Paramatman. It can be understood only by an Adhikari being taught by a teacher, the Guru Parampara, where somebody gets to understand the Aikyam between the Jivatman and Paramatman with all the Mahavakyas. The next nama is Visishtaha, the one who excels. Visishta, we actually use this word in many of our regional languages. So the Lord is Visishta because he excels all, transcends everything. We cannot give an example of the Lord. Bhagavan is like Bhagavan. Just as the sky is like the sky, the ocean is like the ocean, or he is the Visishta, being endowed with Ananta Kalyana Gunas, countless auspicious attributes. So therefore, he is Visishta. And we generally see, like, this Visishta being used for many regular things, but doesn't mean we can be compared to him. What he is the highest kind of excellence that exists at the absolute measure. Then Sishtakrit, the maker of the laws, the maker or protector of good people. So there are two different meanings. Sishtakrit, the maker of the law, or he is also the maker and protector of the good people. So Sishta means law or good people. So he is the maker of the laws and also draws boundaries for everything. The ocean does not cross and swallow the land mass. Fire is there as a potential and it manifests only under certain conditions. The core of the earth is nothing but molten fire, lava. So much of heat is under the earth, but it is kept inside and comes out only under certain conditions. So everything is controlled. Water boils only at 100 degrees. The ocean does not get frozen completely because of the salt. The planets move in their own orbit. They do not change their course of movement. So thus, there are boundaries everywhere, and you have to live within these boundaries. You make boundaries for yourself, your behavior towards others, and also make boundaries for the behavior of others towards you. So this is the dharma that we are talking about now. Bhagavan has already made boundaries by giving a sense of dharma, and the conscience, inner conscience, will speak to people who listen to it on what that dharma is. And we've previously seen some examples. Everybody by default, as and when they're born, know that you can't steal from somebody. If it is somebody else's, stealing is bad. And Swamiji gives jokes about it, that's the reason why thieves know that it is wrong. That's why they come in the night and they will steal when there is nobody watching them, not in broad daylight. Nobody can just go walk into somebody's house and pick something up. So the inner conscience knows that we should not be hurting somebody or we should not kill somebody. And all of this, there are boundaries of what should and shouldn't be done, and it is part of our conscience. So dharma has boundaries as what is to be done and what is not to be done. The system karoti, Bhagavan makes laws and draws boundaries for welfare of the world, and therefore is sishtakrit. By making boundaries, sishtan karoti, he makes people dharmika and cultured, hence is sishtakrit. So here we'll take a quick pause and try to understand what is that makes human beings are the only
Sorry, Guruji,
people.
can you repeat that again, Guruji?
Sure. Two different words. Sishtam karoti, Bhagavan makes laws and draws the boundaries for the welfare of the world. So therefore he is Srishtakrit. The second kind of derivation that we can, vyutpatti we can take out of this word is Sistan karoti. He makes people dharmika and cultured. He makes, Sishtaha means like good people. So he makes, the one who makes good people is Sishtakrit.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm assuming everybody pondered upon this previously, that all the other species seem to be not deviating from their swadharma. So think about an ant. It'll go and store some food for winter, and it'll, they will work hard. They collaboratively work together. They just, there's teamwork even in the ants. Or when you think of a Kruramrigam in the forest, it is hungry, therefore it'll go kill and it'll eat, but it doesn't go on a rampage to kill thousands of people. So what is it with humans that we understand dharma? We are supposed to be the most intelligent species that exists, but somehow we don't really understand what dharma is, and we think we own everything on Earth, or even now where we are also doing asteroid mining. So everything that exists in the universe belongs to us, and it is there for us to enjoy it. What makes us think that way, and why are we deviating from the dharma, and we seem to be less intelligent compared to even an ant? Pipilika.
I think, Guruji, the 8 kinds of Maya, particularly the last 3, make us the chittam, what is in my chittam, and what is actually making me the I, the small I, the ego, ahankara. and my manas that is contaminated. Because the five Panchabhutas are in everybody, the last three, I think, exist in mostly the cortex driven creatures, not the invertebrates, but I think the cortex is evolving. I think my greatest danger is my cortex. If I have everything in my basal ganglia as my habits, and I don't overthink the consciousness, and we all know, like I think a 6-year-old kid knows everything that's right, but they
Correct.
still do certain things by changing their mind. I think the bewilderment of the memory that is not right is the main problem for all this, because the last three are the nirgunas of the eight mayas. I think those are the ones. I think as even the God says, like mayeva manadatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashasyasi mayeva ata urdhvam na samshayah. So I think if my manas is in him, my buddhi is in him, and I will live in him, and now and thereafter as well. When my manas goes out of it, my buddhi is bewildered, and everything goes down the line. I think that's what my understanding is.
Very nice. Very well said,
Thank you.
Bhaskarji.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to share any thoughts?
Guruji, I have a question. See, for the current situation, see, if people are losing jobs and they are hungry, and at this point, to feed themselves and their family, if somebody steals, is that against Dharma? Stealing is a
Supposed to
bad
be.
thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be against Dharma. Remember Satya Harishchandra? A king becoming the Kartikapari. I don't know if everybody knows her Satya Harishchandra story. I'm assuming everybody does.
Yeah, Guruji.
So that is Dharma.
But
He came to the point of even selling his child and his family for like slavery, but did not deviate from it. That's what it's supposed to be.
okay, thank you.
Because really, like, stealing doesn't have to be the course of action. Food can be found. And what actually makes us think we own all of this is that need more than what we really want to consume or what we will consume, saving it for like generations and generations. And all of this probably did not exist. I don't know. Maybe it existed even during Mahabharata, when Duryodhana was trying to steal, and even Ravana trying to just abduct Sita Devi, right? So it happens to human beings more. And to Bhaskarji's point, it is the evolution of mind. I sometimes feel like, if everybody watched Rajnikant's robot, like Robo, I feel we are like that. Like, Bhagavan created a species thinking they'll be intelligent, but I think we've just taken over the world, and he has a huge headache because of us. Does anybody else feel that way?
I think personally speaking, Guruji, I think I think mankind has become very greedy. Like what to say, like that satisfaction is not there. Like
Correct.
more. As we are going, like, oh, God can give this was us. Like next, if He gives that, like something bigger,
Yeah.
right? Like we keep on looking for bigger things in life,
Yeah.
whereas we are not content with what we have. Like even like during this pandemic, I always tell my son, like it's a blessing to work from home. It's a blessing to have work, because lots of people are not having that, and it's a
Yeah.
blessing to have food on a table, be it whatever it is. It's food, like
Correct.
it's like satisfying us, right? Like
Yeah.
small things, if we start thanking God for it. And I don't know, like I've shared personally with many people this, like my mother, when I was a kid, she always used to tell, a person complained that he never had shoes, and when he went out, he
Yeah.
saw a man without like feet, and he thanked God, oh, at least I have feet. So I always keep telling that to my son, and telling, like, we have to be satisfied with what we have. There are lots of people who are like below us, and like we are struggling, but at least we have all these things. So personally, I think greed, right? And that satisfaction is not there in life.
Yeah, and the survival of the fittest, which is like the struggle that, I have to be so and so. I had like the stereotyping, like, yeah, I think of, like, can I just not live in a parnashala, like somewhere in a, like, a nice little mud hut? Would that not be enough for me to survive? Absolutely. But what we tend to do is to just go beyond, as you said. It's the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. It's a sequential increase from, like, once it starts with a desire, and then if I don't get it, then it goes into anger, krodha, and then it goes into lobha, I need more, and then like all of that continues over a period of time. So we will see a lot more of those shlokas coming very soon in Gita. Once it starts with Stita Prajna Lakshanas, Bhagavan goes into that topic. But that's exactly it, right? Our intelligence, our mind taking over the intelligence, and our sense organs. Every organism has sense organs, but it doesn't generate greed. What happens, sense organs, their job is to see or like, receive information from outside and send it to the mind, and the mind processes that. And if our intelligence doesn't take over what the mind is processing, then that's when all of these things will happen. So it's about being thankful, being grateful, as you said, Anitaji, and avoiding those Arishad Vargas, the 6 aces, which will, of course, lead to the Raga, Shoka, and all of that. Okay, so we'll move to the next Nama, Shuchihi, the one who is pure. Lord is not tainted by Maya and its effects such as Raga, Dvesha, Punya, Papa, and so on. Therefore, he is Shuchi. And just combining it to the, like, trying to just add to the previous topic, if the Atman is none other than Bhagavan, he is living within us, but he is the purest form. All of this doesn't touch Atman, but it is only the layers between. So sense organs, like, all the animals that have sense organs and some basic brain, they're not being tainted with this. And the pure Atman is not getting tainted with it. It is what is in between these two that we have no control over, and apparently they are taking control over us. So point to ponder. The next Nama is Siddhartha, the one who obtains what he desires. Siddha Artha. See, there are 2 words in this. So one who obtains what he desires. And if people had desires, and of course, dharmic desires, this Nama could be used as a japa mantra in order to achieve any specific desires. So obviously, so it'll be Om Siddharthaya Namaha. Whatever is ardhamana, desired by a person, is artha, like wealth, security, pleasures, punya, even swarga. And what is attained by it is considered artha, and moksha. So even moksha becomes a desire and a passionate something, and then it also drives people to rajasic nature, which again will not lead anybody to moksha. So people get, like, think it is a destination to be reached, and that changes course. A jiva has to accomplish these one by one, for he seeks them only because he does not have them. One who has accomplished all the purusharthas is a siddhartha. This is not easy for a jiva, and it is not possible. It is possible by the grace of the Lord. One who has gained the knowledge of the Lord and thereby attained the only worthwhile purushartha of moksha is also said to be the siddhartha. But even here, he seeks it because he does not know that he is already mukta, liberated, which is what we were talking about. It is now, here and now, that the Atman within us is ever free. Who we associate with ourselves. Do I associate with myself with my sense organs, and therefore I am probably like always eating because my tongue takes over my mind and my intelligence, or I'm always, like, into listening to some sounds. I can't live without a sound. Then my ears have taken over. So whether I'm in control of the senses, or whether I'm in control of my mind or my intelligence or my past memory, and I keep dwelling about the past tense. So what am I slave to is something that everybody needs to ponder on to understand what the stage of life or journey they are in order to liberate themselves. Just be free from all of these things, and we are automatically, by the very nature of the Atman, we are muktas. So this is the Jivan Mukta topic that we were talking about yesterday. The gain of jnana is also through his grace. So in the case of Jiva, the arthas are at first sadhyas and then become siddha. So it is something to be achieved. When we talk about dharma, artha, kama, dharma is the defining law. Then artha, kama is what we generally go behind throughout our lives. And at some point, some jnana, some knowledge comes to us that we are probably taking the wrong step, like because we thought if I achieved this state, if I bought a house, I would be very happy. But I compare myself to somebody else, or I feel like, no, this is too congested for me, then I want a bigger house. So the happiness is never there. It is always the next step. So step one, happiness, step two, and then I have to continue growing in order to gain that ultimate happiness, which doesn't happen with any of the artha kama. It only comes as moksha. But moksha also becomes a destination, and we are working towards it until a point where we reach, where we know it is not something to be achieved. We are already muktas. Any thoughts on that? Any questions about Jivan Mukti? Everybody understands that concept, right?
I heard a story, if I may
Go ahead,
share it.
Bhaskar. Please, of course.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I thought like it helped me to understand like how you said the journey itself becomes the destination, and that is actually kind of like a nice story. Two monks were trying to understand from their guru, so they both were waiting outside, but the guru was meditating and meditating. One of the monks is just trying to practice, the other one is almost there, but they don't know the difference. So they say like, how do we get liberated? So the meditation was one process, but the guru said like, I'm meditating myself, so he doesn't come out for 2 days. In the 2 days, they get agitated outside. The one who is waiting to hear the answer is very patient. The other one who wants to know the answer is agitated. So when the time comes, and the agitated one pushes the other one and gets inside the Guru's ashram and says like, how do you get liberated? He says, do you want to know how many attempts it takes? Yes. He says, yes. So look at that tree and how many leaves are there on the tree is the number of attempts you have to do to get there. He says, forget about it, I'm leaving, and he takes off. So the next one comes in and he says, Guruji, I want to know what is my path and where is the peace. He says, do you know how many times it takes to get liberated? The same question. He says, I don't want to know, Guruji. As long as I know that I will be liberated, I'll be on the path. All I need is, I need an answer that I'll be liberated at some point. As long as I know that, I want to stay in the path. I don't know if it is billions or millions or whatever it is. It is not my intention, Guruji. He says, you're already there. Don't worry about it. Continue your sadhana.
Exactly. Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you,
Very nice.
Guruji.
And that's what Bhagavan says too, right? Like, it's a path. And wherever you leave, like even Arjuna asked the question, what if I did not achieve moksha in this janma? What happens to me? Like, would I just hang around somewhere? But Bhagavan says, no, you will start from there. Like, you will take a janma and you will start from that point onwards to move to the next step. And this is why I think we have that opportunity where we can continue the sadhana, go to from step 1 to step 10 in this janma, and then continue on that path from step 11 if it's like 100,000. So we will get there someday. But that's what you're talking about, right? So that's a continuous process on how evolved we can get. And the evolution is to say, to stop seeking. Recently, actually, I should read this out loud. If you don't mind, I saw, this is from Ashtavakra Gita, and I felt it was absolutely the message, and it's quite related. So it's a long one. Maybe I'll share it in the group for everybody to read instead of taking time here. But I felt that is the message and why it's here and now and not sometime in the future. Will I get mukti in the future? Will I get moksha in the future? Is a question that we can continue to ask and continue to seek. But we have to understand Bhagavan is living within us, and we don't need to find him elsewhere. And by just living in his thoughts, in his in that Atma Jnanam, right? So we're living within that space, I think we will just liberate ourselves over a period of time. The samsara continues around us. The movie continues to happen, but the movie screen will not be tainted with it. Okay, so the next nama. Oops. Okay, yeah. Siddha Sankalpaha. Yeah. Siddha Sankalpaha, the one whose intentions are fulfilled. If the Lord has a sankalpa, an intention, an idea, that very sankalpa is already siddha, accomplished. Like even in our dream, we think of a mountain and the mountain is there. There is no time gap between the thought of the mountain and the arrival of the mountain. The very thought is the mountain. Luckily for us, in our waking state, whatever we think of does not always come true. Otherwise, it would be a problem. But for Bhagavan, all his sankalpas come true, and therefore he is Siddha Sankalpa. Chandogya Upanishad speaks of him as Satya Sankalpaha. So this is something we talked about, the evolution, like how the universe came into existence. Some sankalpa matrena is how it is described, right? By the mere thought of creating the universe, that icha jnana kriya shakti just take over and the universe gets created. He doesn't need tools or materials in order to sit down somewhere and start carving us. So by the mere thought of it, the sankalpa, things happen. So he is a siddha sankalpaha. And it is also some siddhas who actually, I don't know if you have heard of vak siddhi and things like that. People who have been on the sadhana path for long, those siddhis come to them, and if they say a word, it'll come true. So that's why even in our we were told in our childhood, don't say things like all bad things, because we have tathastu devatas is what my mother used to say. Somebody from above, from the gods, will say tathastu, and that'll really happen. But the tathastu devatas don't exist somewhere else. It is the siddhis that are within us, the Bhagavan within us, that the something can manifest. So there is a chance, probably compared to Bhagavan, a very fractional chance of something to be manifested just because we have said it or our sankalpam was there. So it's always important to send the right thoughts, think about the right things, and say the right things, because we are sending out waves, thought waves, or sound waves. So make sure that those are as pure as possible. So just in case something manifests is how it is described. Next nama is Siddhidaha, the one who gives success. When we get a positive result in our
Sorry,
undertaking.
Guruji. Can you elaborate on that once again, Guruji, if you don't mind? The thought waves and everything, because always I think that whatever we think, good, bad, like everything is like manifest, right? Like laws of manifestation. So
Correct. So what we say is we even for just pure physics, think about that. We send a sound wave. Let's assume we are in a physics lab. We send a sound wave, it'll hit something and it'll come back. So it's a wave pattern and waves move. So we are sending out sound waves, it'll hit something and it'll come back to us, is how it is explained. And even thoughts are waves. And when we send out thoughts, may they be positive thoughts. So many of the Shanti mantras in the Vedas talk about, may our thoughts be pure, may our speech be pure. Like even Badram Karne Bishrunyamadeva, or like many of these Shanti mantras do talk about that when you're sending out something, may those be purer, because ultimately it'll hit back to you anyways. So does that make sense?
yeah, Guruji.
Okay. Go to Siddhidaha. When we get a positive result in our undertaking, we consider it as a success. He's the one who gives us that success by giving the results in keeping with our karma. It is because of his grace that we get all success, and hence he is the Siddhida. So somebody who gives. So somebody who gives. Dadati. So siddhim phalam kartribhyah swadhikaran rupato dadati iti siddhidah. So one who bestows anything. And if we are on the path to success, And I always say, like, we can focus on a few things in our mind at any given point of time. We could be having like 100 things that we are interested in, but we can only focus on, say, what are the top 5 things in my life right now? And those 5 things keep changing depending on what phase of life we are in. So probably my son would have been my number one. Not that he's not today, but I do other stuff. When he was probably 1 year old, I had nothing else that I would want to do. That's like, just take care of him, right? So things change over a period of time. So our mind also shifts according to what our roles are. But can we make Bhagavan the first priority no matter what stage we are in? And what are we trying to manifest? Is it, and there's this example that Swamiji used to give. If you ask a child that I have a gold biscuit and I have a cream biscuit in my hand, the child has no idea that if I get the gold biscuit, I could purchase hundreds and thousands of these cream biscuits. So for him, it is now and this moment. And in this moment, I like that cream biscuit. It just feels very good and it looks very tasty. So I'm going to have it. So we are like that where Bhagavan is saying, okay, I can provide you with any of your, whatever you want to ask, I'm going to bestow that to you. But we go with, oh, I want a better job, I want a better car, or I want this, I want that. And our goals and what we ask for are very small little things. Just imagine if God manifests himself in front of you, what are your top 3 things that you're going to ask him? Do you really even need anything after he manifested himself? Really, do you want to think about, oh, this is my shopping list? So whatever we ask for, he bestows. They better be good ones. Siddhi sadhanaha, the one who facilitates achievements. For achieving any end, all the means that are there is Parameshwara. Again, he's the one who facilitates the siddhi, the achievement, by removing the obstacles. The means is Parameshwara and the end is also Parameshwara. Therefore, he is the siddhi sadhanaha. So for people who are the siddhas, he is the ultimate destination. He is the one to be achieved. Therefore, he is siddhi sadhanaha. Next shloka. We've got 5 minutes. We'll just try to see if I can chant the shloka or maybe chant the previous one.
Shriji, in the previous sloka, is it Vishishta Shishta Krutchuchihi or Vishishta Shishta Krutchuchihi?
So Visishtaha is one nama, Shishtakrit is the other nama, and Shuchihi is the third nama. So there are 3 namas in that.
When you say it together, how do you say that? Because of the sandhi.
Visishtas Shishtakrit Shuchihi, the CHCHU.
Okay.
In my mind, I'm chanting that the way it is supposed to be chanted, but when I say it out loud, for some reason, it's just coming out the other way. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Somebody's chanting. Would you like to chant, Anitaji?
I can try.
Please go ahead.
Asankyeyo premeyatma vishishta shishta kruchichihi siddhartha siddha sankalpa siddhida siddhi sadhanaha.
That's the tone that I'm chanting. That's why I wanted in the right tone. There's a different way, but we should be chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam. I don't know.
Shall I go ahead?
Please go ahead. Go ahead, Srividyaji.
Asankyeyo prameyatma vishish. 1 second.
I confused everybody.
Sorry. I'll start from Suprasado. Suprasada prasannatma vishwadrik vishwabhuk vibhuhu satkarta satkritasa Sadur Jahnur Narayano Narah. I don't know what's happening. Sorry.
He confused everyone.
Guruji,
असङ्ख्येयो
I think we have
प्रमेयात्मा
your audio file.
विशिष्टशिष्ट
Can we post that
असङ्ख्येयो
because you actually did one?
प्रमेयात्मा
सिद्धार्थ सिद्ध संकल्प सिद्धिद
विशिष्टसिद्धिः
सिद्धिसाधनः
Yeah, she's right.
The power
असङ्ख्येयो
of influence.
प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्ट विशिष्ट
असङ्ख्येयो प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्टस्य
Ah,
असङ्ख्येयो
पृच्छति
प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्टसिद्धिः कृच्छ्रुचिः
Ishtakruchitihi, yeah.
सिद्धार्थ
सिद्धार्थ
सिद्ध
Siddhartha siddha
सिद्धसङ्कल्प
sankalpa
संकल्प
siddhida
सिद्धि
siddhi
सिद्धिसाधनः
sadhana. Vrishahi, thank you. Vrishahi vrishabho vishnur vrishaparva vrishodaraha vardhano vardhamanascha viviktashruti sagaraha. That's what it is. The ameyatma has to go up and the other one it goes down. Like, if you think about the Vedic swaras, the anudatam and swaritam, that's where it is, the udatam. वृषाहि वृषभो विष्णुर्वृषपर्वा वृषोदरः वर्धनो वर्धमानश्च विविक्तश्रुतिसागरः. Okay, I think we finally got it. Who would like to chant along?
I can chant.
वृषाहि वृषभो विष्णुर्वृषपर्वा वृषोदरः. I'll let you chant the right way, please. Don't copy me. I'm still
कृष्ण
struggling
हि
with it.
वृषभो विष्णु वृषपर्वा वृषोदरः
वर्धनो वर्धमानश्च विविक्तश्रुतिसागरः.
वर्धनो वर्धमानश्च विविक्तश्रुतिसागरः
We'll also do the previous one, please. असङ्ख्येयो प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्टशिष्टकृच्छुचिः.
असङ्ख्येयो प्रमेयात्मा विशिष्टसृष्टिकृच्छुचिः
शिष्टकृच्छुचिः.
शिष्टकृच्छुचिः
So the first cha is the second Mahaprana cha, and the whatever is like the following one is a Alpa Prana. Visishtasishtakruchuchihi.
विशिष्टशिष्टकृच्छुचिः
Siddhartha Siddha Sankalpa Siddhida Siddhi Sadhanaha.
सिद्धार्थसिद्धसङ्कल्पः सिद्धिदः सिद्धिसाधनः
Awesome. So shall we conclude here for the day, and we'll catch up at 10 o'clock if you're joining for Lalita Sahasram. We'll conclude with a short Shanti mantra. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु. Sarvam Sriman Narayana Charanaravindarpanamas. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you.
Guruji,
Thank you,
I
Guruji.
accidentally, I think, exited our chanting group. Can you please add me back to the LSN,
Sure,
BSN,
absolutely.
please?
We'll do Bhavaniji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Sriji.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you, Suji.
you. Thank you.